If you don't see yourself as one sent of God, you may end up whiling away time until your time on earth is over and you return to the Master. The moment Jesus returned from the grave, the major emphasis that Jesus projected before the disciples was the fact that from now on, they become a people sent on an errand. And so anybody who has come to understand and embrace the resurrection of Jesus must automatically come into the consciousness of one sent. Matthew 28 from verse 18, the moment he showed up, he began to talk to them immediately, and he said, all power in heaven and on earth has been given to me. And he said, you go therefore in that power and disciple all nations, teaching them all that you have received from me, baptizing them in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And he said, lo, I am with you always unto the end of the age. The moment he resurrected, they were excited. You would think, oh, this is time to celebrate his victory over the grave. There was no such time. I didn't come back from the grave for us to have a party. I came back from the grave to transfer the mission I was running to you. So the first response to the resurrection of Jesus actually is accepting the mandate to be sent. Anybody who has not accepted the mandate to be sent has not really embraced the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Go into all the world. In John chapter 20 verse 21, same context. As the Father have sent me, it says, so also send I you, as the Father have sent me. So when you see the life of Jesus, one thing you see and discover is that Jesus operated with a consciousness of one sent. From the age of 12, his parents came to find him in the temple after not seeing him for 3 days. And a boy of 12 years gave the most surprising response of all time. Where have you been? Don't it occur to you that we will be troubled looking for you? And they say, why are you looking for me? Are you not aware that I should be about my Father's business? That was the mentality of Jesus at the age of 12. And Jesus was about that errand 3 days without eating or drinking, questioning the doctors of the law and answering the questions because they couldn't answer the questions. At the age of 12, he was already saturated with the passion of running the errands of God. Is it not a shame that some of us have been Christians for 10 years, for 15 years, yet there is no mandate we are running with? What Jesus at the age of 12 was already saturated with, the passion was already consuming him. How can a boy of 12 not eat for 3 days and 3 nights? No record. He remained with the doctors of the law and he was engaging them on matters of the kingdom. Because the purpose of existence, amongst other things, is to run the errands of God. If you are on this side of the divide and you don't have a relationship with God, you don't know God, and you are not running any errand for God, your existence is already a waste. This is why we must all build that mentality, because this is what God is about. He has an agenda he wants to fulfill on this side of the earth, and we are his foot soldiers in fulfilling that agenda. In Mark chapter 16 verse 15, Jesus was speaking to the disciple. He said, go into all the world and preach the gospel. All the world. In fact, when I was doing these studies, I discovered that Jesus was deliberate in the way he structured this operation. Because it's something you will do for the rest of your life. If you study Matthew 28 verse 19, the first word used there is all nations. And the word nations is the word ethnos. It means basic sphere of influence, like family, like friends. That's where you begin from. If you go to Matthew 24 verse 14, where Jesus said, this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world. The word used there is the word oikomin, and it means systems and empires. So what Jesus was introducing us to is something that will completely eat up our life. It will begin with your family and friends, when you are done with them, he said, go to institutions. If you are a lecturer, go there as a sent man. If you are a military officer, go there as a sent man. If you are a businessman, go there as a sent man. If you are called into the fivefold ministry, do it with all your heart as a sent man. Because it's not enough that you have conquered your friends. It's not enough that you have conquered your family. You have to conquer your organization. And Jesus didn't stop there. In Matthew 16:15, he said, go into all the world. The word used there is the word cosmos. That is the whole earth. So you begin from family to established institutions to the whole earth. So Jesus wants us to build a mentality of a people sent, and sent until we get to impact the whole world. This is what powered all of the prophets. This is what powered all of the apostles. This is what powered Jesus Christ. And this is what must power us. In Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, he told the prophet, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I didn't bring you here for you to enjoy. I brought you here because there is an agenda. He said, before you came forth, I ordained you to be a prophet to the nations. And he began to tell him his job description. So if God didn't have an agenda, there wouldn't have been a need for you to be born. That means what validates your existence is the degree to which you are about that agenda. So every prophet of old was running with a mentality that they are sent of God. And that is why the last of the Old Testament prophet, which was John, when he was introduced in John chapter 1 verse 5, the Bible said there was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness. There was a man sent from God. Every one of the prophets knew they were sent to their generation. Some of us have the mentality that we are here to survive. And that's why we go only to places where we can fare well in life. We go to only places where we have advantage. We don't go to places that border on the errand that we are running, because it has not dominated us. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. That was the mentality. And all of the apostles of Jesus, this was the mentality they sustained, because Jesus himself told them, go into all the world. And then the disciples they raised, that was the same mentality. Acts chapter 8 verse 5, it said Philip went down to Samaria. The first thing he did was to preach Christ there. And the Bible said the whole city was full of joy. Every one of them had the mentality of sent people to their generation. Every time you read Romans chapter 1 from verse 1, it says Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. A man sent of Jesus Christ to a generation. That is the mentality that every Christian must have. Listen, you are sent to your generation. You may start from your family. You may start from your organization. You may not have built capacity enough to address your generation, but you must register it at the depth of your heart that you are sent to your generation. If that mentality is not formed, you stand the risk of living a life that has no impact in eternity. We are sent. We are here on an errand. We are here on a purpose. Everything we have is given to us in order to facilitate that agenda. Every opportunity we have is given to us in order to facilitate that agenda. We are not here just to enjoy life. Enjoyment is the least thing about life. Fulfilling purpose is the major cost for existence. You are sent. You are sent. It's unfortunate that many have lived for so long, yet they've not been able to build the mentality of a sent man. And so the first thing we need to know and have is that we are sent.